Hey, it's Matt Adair, co-host of the Five Factors podcast and lead pastor at Christ Community Church in Athens, Georgia. Hope you're doing well. I want to welcome you to video 2 of our workshop, How Leaders Thrive. In video 1, we talked about the fact that if you want to thrive as a leader, if you want to flourish, if you want to lead well for a long time, then you absolutely have to invest in your personal health. That what I have found is in my research, in the work that I've done with hundreds of leaders like you, in my own story, what I have found is that the key to success is investing in these 5 factors of healthy leadership. That when you and I invest in our mental health, our physical health, our relational, spiritual, and vocational health, when we make sure that we take care of ourselves, then we're going to give ourselves the best opportunity to help other people. And so what we did last time is I encouraged you to download our free overview at fivefactors.net/overview. And that's going to give you the opportunity to kind of get a sort of the full picture of the 5 factors framework and also help you to identify one area of your personal health that you need to invest in this next month. Now, what happens when a leader decides to prioritize their own personal health is that they inevitably run into a problem. And that problem usually sounds something like this. Okay, so where am I going to find the time to actually work on this? Where am I going to find the time to really invest in my own physical health? I haven't taken care of myself that well. How am I actually going to be able to find time to spend with my family? How am I going to find time to invest in friendships or to spend more time cultivating my life with God? How's that going to happen? Because here's the truth that all of us face. We only have 24 hours in a day. There are only 168 hours in a week. And inevitably, every single day is filled with surprises and interruptions. So even when you and I walk into the day with a great plan, it rarely goes the way that we intended. And so what that creates for us is a lot of internal frustration and struggle. Some of us, we try to create more margin than we need because we're so concerned that when life's interruptions and surprises happen, we won't have what it takes to be able to do what we need to do in order to be healthy, in order to lead, in order to live well. So what I want to do is basically help you answer the question, where do I find time for myself? Where do I find time to invest in these different aspects of my personal health, believing that if I invest in my personal health, that I will give myself the best opportunity to lead well, to be the best version of myself as a leader, and to be able to lead well for a long time. So that's what we're trying to figure out today. So what I want to do is this, and I want to share with you basically the process that I go through day in and day out, because back in 2013, I took a second job. I took on a job with a church planting network, a global church planting network, and really enjoyed the work that I was able to do there. But that meant that now, not only did I have a full-time job as a lead pastor, I now had this other job as well. In addition to having a growing family, I have 3 boys that are all under the age of 14. I love my wife. I want to spend time with her. I have things that I'm interested in outside of work. And so, like you, my schedule was full. And I knew that if I was going to be able to really give my family the best part of me, if I was going to be able to invest in friendships, if I was going to do my work well, then I needed to be healthy. The things that we've been talking about within the 5 factors framework, those are deep convictions for me personally. So I had to figure out, where do I find the time in a 24-hour day, a 168-hour week? How is I going to find the time to be able to make room for my own personal health? And so what I want to do is walk with you through the system that I didn't come up with myself, but I've kind of developed and adapted, that has worked well for me, that has worked well for a lot of my coaching clients, and I believe will work well for you. So here's what I want you to do, and you can pause the video at any point in time as we're working on this. I want you to just grab a piece of paper and a pen, and what I want you to do is I want you to take maybe a minute or two, and if you don't have a to-do list already in front of you, I want you to just write down all the things that you need to do that you can think of for the rest of the day, the week, however it might be. And so I want you to think of job-related activities. I want you to think of family-related activities, personal activities, things that you're like, I need to get these done. And again, you can do that for today. You can do that for this week. I just want you to take a minute and write those things down. You write down 5, 10, 15, however many things there are. I don't want you to spend a lot of time and energy on this. I just want want you to bring up the things that come to mind. And that's the very first step that you need to do. I really believe in the power of creating a to-do list. So go ahead and do that. We'll come right back and we'll talk about what you do with this list. All right, so you've written down this to-do list, and the worst thing that you can do is to just simply take what the day has given you. So you have a list of, let's say, 10 things in front of you, and these 10 things that you have listed 1 to 10 probably shouldn't be done in order because they're not all equally significant. And so what I want you to do is basically to help you create a plan for how you're going to make the most out of your day. This is how you multiply your time. And so the underlying belief that I have here is that different tasks have different values, that they are more or less significant based on a couple of things. So what I want you to do at the top, and especially because I want you to do this for the rest of the month, what I want you to do is I want you to, at the very top of your list, I want you to just simply, draw a circle, and then next to that, I want you to write the word urgent. And then over to the side, I want you to make a little check mark, and next to that, I want you to write the word important. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to take that list of 10 things or however many things you've written down, and I want you to basically look at that, and I want you to circle every single task that is urgent. And here's what I mean by urgent, and this definition is important. I want you to circle only those things that are absolutely have to be done today. Only the things that absolutely have to be done today are urgent. I just want you to circle those things, okay? So however many tasks there are, let's imagine that out of 10 tasks, that there are 8 tasks that you've written down that absolutely have to be done today. So there are 8 tasks that are circled. This basically is going to tell you that these 8 things are urgent. They must be done by the end of the day. Now, the second thing I want you to do is I want you to look at that list of 10 things, and I want you to put a check next to every single task that is important. And what I mean by important is that they can only be done by you, okay? So I don't know how many out of those 10 things would be there. Let's say that it's 5. Let's say that there are 5 tasks that you've written down that are important. Now, what's going to happen when you look at that little kind of code that you've created for yourself is you're going to have 4 categories of tasks. You're going to have certain tasks that have a circle and a check next to them. These are both urgent and important. You're going to have certain tasks that are circled because they're urgent, but there's no check by them because they're not important. You're going to have some tasks that don't have a circle next to them, but they do have a check. That means that they're not urgent, they don't have to be done today, but they do need to be done by you at some point in time. And then there's invariably going to be a task, at least one, if not more, that is neither important or urgent. That means that it isn't due today, and it doesn't have to be done by you, but it's on your list. So let's talk about what you do once you've marked that. This is the way in which I think about this, and this is a matrix that was actually created by President Dwight Eisenhower, and I figure if it works for a president, it probably works for me as well. This is called the Eisenhower Matrix. You can actually get on the Google machine later and go look this up, and this will help you, but I want to break this down for you. So here's how we want to attack this. The very first thing that you want to look at is you want to look at those tasks that, based on your decision, are neither important nor urgent. They don't have a circle, they don't have a check mark. These are tasks that need to get off your list. They need to be deleted. They don't need to be passed on to anybody, and they don't need to be done today. They need to go away. And so you need to delete them. You can go ahead and cross through that because that isn't where you need to spend your time. Non-urgent, non-important tasks need to be deleted. Okay? The second group of tasks you need to look at are the ones that have a check by it because they are important and they are urgent, okay? These are the tasks that you are going to do today. Now, these usually are easy. These are the things that you know. They're part of your job. You are responsible for it, and it needs to be done today. These are the ones that you are going to do today. Now, let's imagine that you have one task that you've deleted, and there are 5 tasks that you need to get done today. These are things you need to do. You delete the non-important, non-urgent tasks. You're going to do the important and the urgent tasks. That leaves us with 2 other categories, and these are really important, and this is where most of us lose our time and lose our effectiveness. I want you to look at the list of things that are absolutely urgent, but they're not important, okay? So these are tasks that need to be done today, but they're not important because they're not important to you. They're not part of your job. They aren't things that only you can do. And so what we want to do here is we want to see if it's possible to delegate this particular set of tasks. Let's imagine that there are 3 of these, okay? So we've had 1 task that we've deleted. We've had 5 tasks that we have decided we're going to do, and we're going to come back and talk about those in a minute. And now we have 3 tasks that we need to delegate. And so what I want to do there is I want to be able to look at those tasks and determine who those need to be handed off to. And if those are tasks that don't have to be done by you, but you don't have anybody else to delegate them to, then let me go ahead and explain what you can do with this. Let's take an example like email. For a lot of us as leaders, we may not have an assistant, and we're going to have to handle our email. We don't have anybody to hand that off to. One of the mistakes that most leaders make is that they basically treat their inbox as a to-do list. It's a terrible way to get things done. And so what I want to encourage you to do with tasks that should be delegated, these are things that need to be done today, but they aren't necessarily important. They aren't a thing that only you can do within the uniqueness of your job. But you don't have anybody to hand these things off to. Then I want to encourage you to batch those tasks. I want to encourage you with email to only do that once a day. I want you to limit yourself to a 30-minute window once a day, usually at a time that you're not as productive as you could be. And I only want you to open up your email and work on email then. The reason why is because these tasks really don't move the meter. They're not going to really make that significant of a difference in the value of your day. We don't like email, but we tend to just have our email inbox open all the time. And so I want to free you from the tyranny and the overwhelm and the always paying attention to that and always allowing other people to interrupt your day. I promise you, one of the beauties of technology is that as texting and instant access to people has become more prevalent, email has become less significant. And I can go ahead and tell you, I do have an assistant. I look at email for 30 minutes once a week. That's all. And so if you don't think it's possible, then just do 30 minutes a day. But you're going to see some real power when you decide to delegate. And if you don't have anybody to delegate, to batch these tasks to, okay? These aren't like the tasks that you've identified as being both urgent and important. These are urgent. These need to happen today. You need to do it today, but they're not so important that they need to get the bulk of your attention. Now, here's where most leaders miss, and this is where most leaders really don't find the time and make the time and multiply their time to work on the 5-factor framework. They don't make time for their mental health, their physical, relational, spiritual, vocational health, because most of those tasks are rarely urgent, but they're absolutely important. Nobody else can cultivate the relationships that you need to cultivate. Nobody else can do certain types of work that aren't always urgent. I'll give you a perfect example. If you're a pastor, sermon preparation fits within this category. Sermon preparation doesn't become urgent until Saturday night, right? So sermon preparation is one of those things that we tend to end up scrambling for as pastors and leaders because we don't decide when we're actually going to work on it. And so if we have certain tasks that we delegate, when certain tasks we delete, and certain tasks we do, we also have certain tasks that we need to decide when we're going to do that. So let's imagine that we do have sermon preparation down as one of those tasks that we've thought about. We absolutely need to do it, but we haven't created space in our week to do that yet. So what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and decide when you're going to work on that. And I want you to go ahead and I want you to get into your calendar. If you need to pause this video, go ahead and do that. And I want you to put into your calendar time to work on sermon preparation. And then here's the kicker. When that time comes up in your calendar, nobody can interrupt that unless it's an actual emergency. Somebody who wants to meet with you, that isn't the right time because you have work to do there. You need to work on your sermon. When you have time created in other things that you've identified as important, even though they're not urgent, you want to simply create time that's protected. To go to the gym and work out, to spend time with your kids, to read a book, to spend time with a friend, those type of things. Time with God in the scriptures, taking a half day to pray. Those are things that are never going to feel urgent, and those are the things that tend to get crowded out, right? This is why we don't think that we have time. We have plenty of time. We're just choosing to use our time usually on things that are urgent. Some things that should be delegated to other people and some things that we could do, but we're not going to do because we've already protected our time in our calendar. So this is how you multiply your time. You take the things that you have written on your list and you're going to choose where they go. This is similar to budgeting. This is basically budgeting your time. And so there are certain things we're going to delete because they're not urgent and they're not important. There are certain tasks that we're going to delegate because they are urgent, but they're not important to us. It's not part of our job description. There are certain tasks that we're going to decide when we're going to do it later because we have other things that are more urgent that need our focus right now. Now, let me go ahead and tell you how to really multiply the value of your day. Again, we said out of this list of 10 tasks, we have 5 tasks we've written down that are both urgent and important. We need to do those things today. Let me go ahead and tell you something that's going to be a mental breakthrough for you is I want you to take that list of 5 and I want you to pick one thing. I want you to look at that list of 5 and I want you to choose the most significant task you have. The task that you look at and go, if I do that, that's going to make the biggest difference in my day. That's going to make the biggest difference in my church and the lives of the people around me, whatever it is. You're going to go, that is the win for today. And I want you to circle that, star that, make that the singular win today. And I want you to tell yourself, if I do this, I am going to win today. If I do this today, if I complete this task, then I've won the day and everything else is a bonus. I can tell you that when I started doing this 3 or 4 years ago, it absolutely took away the pressure for me to feel like I have to get everything done every day. The truth of the matter is that out of that list of 10 things, there are maybe only 1 or 2 things that are going to make a significant impact in my day. And I'm going to challenge you to identify that, okay? So let's review what we've done. So here's what we've said. Oh, first off, a couple things that might happen here. I know some people are like, well, I don't do lists. That's fine. There's nothing sacred about writing down a list. But again, what I'm saying is that when you bump up against the fact that you don't have time to do everything, how do you make a choice? How do you decide what to do, what not to do? How do you make that choice? This is simply a way for you to optimize that. Again, you can use the Eisenhower Matrix even if you don't write things down. If you can do it intuitively in your head, you do you. Whatever works for you is going to be great, but I'm just telling you that you're going to have to make choices about where you spend your time. And what I find for a lot of leaders is that we end up missing the boat here and not leaving ourselves enough room to invest in those things that are not urgent, but they're absolutely important. They're significant. They make a massive difference, but we just simply don't take time for it. But if you're also sitting here going, okay, that's fine, but I have a hard time saying no to people. So you have your calendar protected and you're going to do sermon preparation on a Wednesday morning from 9 a.m. to 12. And you get 3 phone calls or 3 emails and people want your time and you have a hard time saying no. I totally understand that. I'm so grateful that you care about people, that you want to be there for them. Here's the hack, I think, for you, is to basically be able to go, I'm going to give you my first available spot of time. I'm just not available right now. It's like you're meeting with somebody else already. Just go ahead and say you're having a meeting with your Bible, or you're meeting with Jesus, the Holy Spirit, whatever you have to do in your own head to feel like I already have an appointment. I'm not available for you now, but I'm available at 1 o'clock on Wednesday, and I'd love to meet with you then. Then I don't think that you're pushing people away. I think you're simply giving them the best of you because that's when you're going to be available, because you need that morning to be able to do this thing that you have identified yourself as super significant for your work. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to basically work through this process. And again, the reason we create this video is for you to go back, rewind, and go watch it again if you're walking through it. And I want you to go ahead and figure out, where is it that I'm going to basically break down my to-do list and to make this happen? How am I going to multiply my time? And one of the things that I want to make sure that you do in this video series is that you don't just simply hear stuff and learn stuff. I want you to take action on this. So if you've created your to-do list and you've broken it down into these sections, now what are you going to do from here, and how are you going to take action in order to begin to multiply your time? Because if you do that, you're going to give yourself the best opportunity possible to actually be able to invest in these areas of personal health. If you don't take action here, I'm afraid that what's going to happen is you're going to have learned some things about the importance of your personal health, but you're not actually going to do it because your day is just going to be crowded out by all the other urgent stuff, because quite honestly, you just have a fairly sloppy approach to how you get things done. So here's what I want you to do. Between now and the next video, and in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a path that addicts use to stay sober, and we're going to apply it to your life and leadership. What we're going to do is we're going to solve the next problem, which is, now that you have time that you've created to focus on this particular area of your personal health, how do you actually grow and develop and mature in this area? How do you go step by step and create incremental change to help you go from where you are now to where you want to be in a particular area of your personal life? So that's what we're going to be working on next time. But the biggest thing that I tell you as we wrap this up here is that when I see people fail in this process, it's because they don't take action. They basically learn a bunch of things, and now they have a theory, but they haven't actually gone and done the work. So I really want to encourage you to do the work. You've done the hard work of identifying this one area of your personal health that you want to develop, and you've now doing the hard work of multiplying your time, so you now have space to work on it. Now let's keep working on it and actually see this idea turn into reality, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to come back next week, and we're just going to basically walk you through the path of success so that you can grow in these areas that are going to give you the best opportunity to thrive as a leader. So again, thank you so much for your attention. Would love to hear what you're working on in the comments below. Tell me, what's your biggest takeaway from this video? What are you going to be working on between now and the next video? And if this is helpful for you, I'd really encourage you to share this with a friend, another leader. If it's helpful for you, it's probably going to be helpful to them. So share it on social media, send the link in the email, and would encourage you to do that. I absolutely love being able to help leaders like you, and I can't do it without you. So if you'll use it, you'll share it, then the more people are going to be able to really learn what it takes to thrive as a leader. So we'll see you in video 3, and hope you have a great rest of the day.